Now, I want to thank Mr. McGarvey for inviting me here to be with you at your convention. I consider it an enormous honor. Your president invited me about 2 years ago to be with your convention, and I wanted to come, but unfortunately, a group of doctors had me hospitalized. So I'm happy to be here with you now. At my age, I'm happy to be anywhere here now. For over 60 years, I've been actively engaged with the union movement. I started in a factory in 1947. I began with Local 68 of the operating engineers, then with the AFL and the CIO, and finally with you people in the trades. All of this time, I have been primarily a parish priest, no more, no less. But let me tell you that in these days, it is not easy to be a leader in the church. It's difficult to reconcile real life and spirituality. Let me tell you a little story. For example, I had a friend who had to drive from Jersey to Florida. He came to South Carolina. He was tired, so he pulled into a small motel. In the South, as you probably know, almost every motel has a Gideon Bible next to the bed. So my friend took a shower and sat in a chair and opened the Bible. On the flyleaf, the first page was written these words: "If you're tired and weary of the journey, open this Bible to page 34. The next sentence said, "If you're confused and are seeking words of comfort, turn to page 65. The next line said, "If you are lonely and depressed, turn to page 124. My friend felt lonely and depressed, so he decided to look at page 24. And at the bottom of page 124 were printed these words in pencil: "If page 124 doesn't do anything for you, call Ginny at 555-4624. Reality and spirituality. Now, of all the many trade associations I've been associated with, you, the building and construction trades, have been very special to me as a priest. First, I marvel at your skills and the works you have performed. Every day of my life, which has been spent in Hudson County, I see the cities, the highways, the roads, the bridges, the tunnels, the civic buildings, the museums, the theaters, the factories, the office buildings that you have built. I see your cranes on the skyline, and I am in awe. You should be exceedingly proud. You can say, honestly, we built America. You are truly a band of brothers, and now, of course, sisters as well. You are linked together first and foremost by your professionalism. All of your people have been through a long and difficult training to become a journeyman, a tradesman. You're proud of your skills, and that binds you together. Bill Mullen has a saying, it's become almost a motto in Jersey here for our trades. All we do is build, he says. Build is all we do. And for his people, that says it all. They concentrate on jobs and the things related to work. They avoid social issues that are not relevant to that work. They are united, one in heart, one in mind, and one in purpose. Yesterday, I watched intently at your video. I listened to that wonderful speech by your president. And then later on, I heard Terry and his friend go through all of the wonderful activities in the presidential report. And I said to myself, you see, That's exactly what Bill is saying in that small sentence. All we do is build. Build is all we do. You reflect a single-minded heart and a single-minded purpose, and nothing that is there is irrelevant. You may remember, some of you, that several years ago there was a great mass convention in Philadelphia run by the IBEW. I was asked to speak to some of you at that time. I was in a building, I think it's called the Liberty Building, the new building, standing facing the men, and behind me was a huge glass window. And through that window, they could see the Independence Hall. And I reminded the men of the fact that those signers of the Declaration of Independence pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to the cause of freedom. They were aware of the price they might have to pay. And I said to them at that time, you were like those men, bonded together for a cause. If you will grant me just a few moments, I would like to tell you what happened to some of those 56 men, those patriots who signed the Declaration of Independence. I have a purpose in that. I know you know about people like Jefferson, Franklin, Adams, and the others. But what about the other men? Well, this is a sad list. 5 signers were captured by the British, tortured, and hung as traitors. 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds or hardships in the Revolutionary War. 2 lost their sons who served in the Revolutionary Army. 2 more had their sons captured by the British. 12 had their homes ransacked and burned. 8 had their farms or properties that were completely burned and destroyed. Carter Braxton, for example, of Virginia, a planter and a trader, saw his ships swept from the seas by the British Navy. He sold his home and properties to pay his debts. He died in rags. Thomas McKeon was so hounded by the British that he was forced to move his family almost constantly. He served in the Congress without pay, and his family was kept in hiding. His possessions were taken from him. Poverty was his reward. Vandals or soldiers looted the properties of these men: Dillery, Hall, Clymer, Walton, Gwinnett, Hayward, Rutledge, and Middleton. At the Battle of Yorktown, Thomas Nelson Jr. noted that the British General Cornwallis had taken over his own home, the Nelson home, for his headquarters. He quietly told George Washington to open fire. The home was destroyed. Nelson died bankrupt. Francis Lewis had his home and properties destroyed. His wife was jailed and tortured by the British. She died as a result. John Hart was driven from his wife's bedside as she was dying. Their 13 children fled for their lives. His fields and his grist mill were laid to waste. For more than a year, John lived in forests and caves. He returned home to find nothing. His wife was dead. His children were vanished. He never saw them again. Now, why am I reading this to you? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I believe you are of the same quality and the same caliber of those early founders. You love this country. For myself, I have to confess to you that I find only 2 institutions in our country where I see true and total, complete patriotism. They don't teach it in the schools anymore. One is the military, where duty, honor, and country matter. And at this moment, our military is being decimated. The best generals are being sent home. Our finest fighters are being cashiered out of the Army. The other institution are you, the building and construction trades, have always stood firm for this country. I wish I could say the same about my Catholic Church, but I cannot. Over these last years since the Vatican II, the word Catholic has become meaning universal. So their interest is not patriotism for the United States. For too many Catholics, including religious priests and some bishops, this country is just another piece of ground on the face of the earth. And so the truth is, you are above all patriots. As a boy too young to serve in World War II, I knew of the Seabees, the construction battalions that were in the forefront of fighting. They did what was ever asked of them, no matter what the danger. The construction of pontoon bridges across rivers under enemy fire, the building of roads in jungles and runways for airplanes in swamps. Your fathers, your grandfathers went ahead, and they had this motto, if you'll remember: the difficult we do immediately, the impossible takes a little longer. And you stayed patriots during the Vietnam War, when mobs were burning the American flag. You flew that flag with pride from your cranes and buildings in defiance. I still get a lump in my throat when I see your flag flying from the cranes and the buildings throughout the state. When the liberals were reviling, spitting on the boys coming home from Vietnam, you accepted them and welcomed them into your organization with gratitude. That movement grew, and it's now called From Helmets to Hard Hats. And so my message to you this morning is just two words, or three really. Please stay the way that you are. America needs patriots like yourselves. America needed them in 1776. America today needs you more than ever. Please stay the same as you are. You are the lovers of our country. You are the builders of America. God bless you all.
Whew. Thank you, Monsignor. Now you know why we tried to get the Monsignor to come down to our big conference in Washington, because our building trades brothers and sisters in New Jersey have gotten to enjoy his comfort and spirituality for decades, as he said. So thank you so much, Monsignor. Really inspired by your work.